Amy, is there anything that you want to say about Primates Inc. before we start off with the first song?
Oh, sure. Thank you. Well, I formed Primates Incorporated over 20 years ago, actually, after working in a laboratory where I grew close to 97 rhesus monkeys. And I thought that I could be the one to bring about change in my lab by presenting managers with the existing literature and saying other labs were sending monkeys to sanctuary. But unfortunately, the management, no matter what I tried, I couldn't help the 97 rhesus monkeys. And so they inspired me to do more for the rhesus monkey species. I'll always keep at it for them. So I chose to resign from the lab, and then I worked with other laboratories. And it took 16 years of overcoming challenges and to get the word out. And then in 2018, we actually helped our first 3 monkeys from out of state laboratory. And then now, fast forward to today, we have 12 sanctuary residents. Half are from the pet trade and half are from laboratories. Unfortunately, people see the baby monkeys on social media and then they want to buy one. And I am out there discouraging that nearly daily because the baby monkeys grow up and they become dangerous. And then many wind up at sanctuaries, leaving less room to help monkeys from laboratories. And there are only 8 sanctuaries nationwide helping monkeys. And so it's really up to us at Primates Inc. to show an example for what's possible, because there's over 105,000 monkeys living in labs nationwide. There's no funding available to send them to sanctuaries. So again, it's up to us as a community. And so I really appreciate the opportunity to help put this fundraiser on to help increase awareness. And I just encourage everyone to please find us on social media. We're on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok and X. So just please find us and share our information, and then visit our website at primatesinc.com. And that's where you can find our open houses and learn more about our mission. So with that, I can hand it back to you, Daniel.
Yeah, wow. I knew that you were the only sanctuary in Wisconsin, but I didn't realize there was only 8 in the US. That's really wild. So thank you for doing what you do to help the monkeys that we can help. And thanks to everybody to be here to learn about that and maybe help chip in a little bit. Um, I'm gonna start playing the first, well, once I figure out how to do it again. Uh, the first track from the Madtones album. This one is called Better Tell the Truth. And all these songs are available on Bandcamp, but this one is also available anywhere that you stream, including Spotify, YouTube Music, Apple Music, anything like that. So without further ado, here we go.
Mama looked at you and told you all those pretty little lies. Soon enough you caught on that they're just to cut you down to size. Cut you down to size. Doctor says you're sick, you gotta turn your mind and cough. How many masks can you put on before you just can't take them off? Better tell the truth. Oh, 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 oh. You better tell the truth. Oh, 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 oh. You don't want a mirror show you how the demons hide inside. Just another vessel that they can't take out for a ride. How can a man do the right thing, still be wrong for his family? I've been wrong. Tells them what they wanna hear, another comfort fantasy. Better tell the truth. Oh, 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 oh. You better tell the truth. Oh, 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 oh.
right. That was the first track, Brother Tell the Truth. I want to turn now to Kirk, who was the lead vocalist on that one. Also, Kirk Stone of Stone, Barone, and the Madtones. He was one of our band leaders and founders. And he was the principal songwriter on all the tracks that you're going to hear today. So Kirk, uh, what was that song about? What inspired you to write that song?
Uh, okay, so Lou Barone, who was the other founder of the band, and I were talking about the masks that people wear and how often it's kind of a late night discussion over coffee. When you're wearing these masks, how commonplace it is to create lies, big and small, as our way of interacting with others. And so from that conversation, I started reflecting on how often I'd been compelled to tell people, what they want to hear or comfortable fantasies. And so when I wrote the lyrics and melody, I did it in a way that in the final song would be talking about these truths, how you tell the truth and how imperative it is. And then our guitarist, Chris Murray, took the song and kept adding multiple key changes. And so it just kept winding up throughout the song. The initial pace was much slower. And then when Dan added in the horns later on, originally we had a tuba that was playing, and by the time the singers were hitting their power harmony at the very end, the song is just really racing. So we always had to focus not to rush and had the singers increase their volume too much. But it's mostly just about the ability to tell the truth when it's challenging, to make it as like a mantra for yourself. And then Matt Porcelli and Abby Kennison, who were the other singers in the song, really worked hard to develop blends so that it didn't get too screechy and just felt natural. That was kind of the hope. It turned out better than I ever thought.
Yeah, honestly, I felt like, I mean, usually when I listen to recordings that I've made over 5 years ago, I'm like, whoa, that was clearly made 5 years ago. But I was really proud when I heard this track. I really really happy with how it came out. I wanted this track to be first because I felt like it like best exemplified like what the goal of our sound was in the Madtones, in my opinion. I mean, um, for people who don't know, the Madtones was a 10-piece band, three singers, four horns, three in the rhythm section. So only one chordal instrument, the guitar. And uh, when like Kirk, you and Lou are like directing me on like how to write the horns, just like we're trying to think of the horns like as like between the horns and the vocalists are like they're like adding like the chordal density, like they're the piano, they're like adding the fills to like kind of like spruce it into like a full song. And um in that one, like there's like a fugue between all the vocalists, and like the brasses are doing one thing and the saxes are doing something else. Um and like as a music arranger, that was like one of the first times that I wrote for the Madtones. I was like, okay, this is actually I feel like we're on the right track here. I feel like we're making something actually pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it was always kind of a call and response from that song onward. So a lot of the times when we were writing songs, we would start with vocals or start with a guitar, or and then as we were saying offline, I would give some vague sort of request to Dan, and just say, "Can you make it pretty? Can you make it beautiful?" And then it would be the horn section. What was interesting how often the vocals would be matched. It was like getting those extra vocalists that would come along. We had three singers at any given time, and then the horns would just add in all that the warmth in the music. Well, as we'll find out later on, some of the songs actually never sounded like this originally until the horns came in. So you smoothed out a lot of the rough edges on the songs themselves.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I want to
uh
thank you, Daniel, too, for all the horn parts you did right. And I came from a trombone background where I was always playing with until groups of trombones, until forward marching band, but then until Stone, Barone, and the Madtones, I really was my own trombone player, and the parts that you wrote for me were very challenging. And so I am a better trombone player for it, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
oh my gosh, thank you. And I definitely recognize the growth that you made throughout that whole time. It was really cool. So Kirk, tell us about the history of the Madtones. Like I alluded that this started 2014.
2014. So prior to this, there was about 9 months that was the progenitor before this. I had actually come out of a situation where I was in a little bit of a anger, sadness time in my life. And my friend Dave Shindell, who's a musician, pretty well known in Madison, introduced me to Lou as a drummer. And I just really needed an outlet for what I was going through. So he and a bassist who called himself the Josh and a lead guitarist who referred to him as Thump, which wasn't his real name. We had this kind of anger rock band called the Bluestones. And out of that came songs like Quit You, Wasteland, Time to Drink. And we just pretty much spent about 9 months wallowing in anger and writing, anger rock ballads in a smoky garage. And then Lou and I decided that we really wanted something more positive, and he started reaching out to friends, posting online to recruit new band members, and really more focused on funk, R&B, originals and covers that we could dance to, and that were positive and uplifting. Is what I think we pretty much did in the band going forward. And then from the original two band members over the course of the four and 3 months, I think it was, that Stone Barone and Madtones got rolling, we had over 22 members in the band, core members, and then people who came in. Um, and and so we had people like Lo Marie, who's pretty well known in the community, to play guitar and provided backup vocals, and other local musicians and singers periodically. And we had a tuba player who provided a lot of the percussion and horn playing. And when the band was finally at its height at the time when Dan and Amy were there, we had 10 core members, three vocalists, guitarists, bassists, and sang, smoke and horn section under Dan's leadership. And by the time the band ran its course, we created a number of original songs, some of which we're hearing today, some of which we might be able to hear at a future date if we do this again. And then some songs that really just were kind of an amalgamation of different genres, jazz or R&B or soul. But by the time we were really rolling, we had about a 3 hour set, and it covered covers and originals. And we pretty much knocked out. We did a performance at Fitnamai down in Stoughton, and we did, I think, a solid 3 hours without breaking. And we were just like a little army unit when we'd show up. We'd go to gigs, and we were 10 strong with instrumentation, and we could do a 3 hour set. So pretty impressive.
And Lou that you're referring to is Lou Barone. He's the
Well,
other namesake of Stone Barone in the Madtones. And before we move on to the next song, I'm just asking because I'm curious. Like when you were starting the Madtones, like were you imagining it being a 10-piece band, or did it just kind of like snowball into the big band that it became?
I mean, it really snowballed because originally, a lot of the songs that I was writing were in duos and trios. It was more like acoustic. I had came out of that kind of anger rock phase for 9 months, and so was envisioning something that was a little funky R&B soul, and maybe another singer with percussion. I hadn't even thought of horns. I didn't have the background for it, so a lot of the people who came into the band, I want to give props to Lou because he did a lot of that recruitment. But sometimes it was just friends of friends who said, "Hey, are you interested?" And then by the time when you came in, it seems like you brought just a slew of people into the band at that time. So I think a lot of it was referrals. Folks, Matt Porcelli, who was the other singer, I had brought in. He and I had sang in another group and had been involved with friends of ours in the a cappella scene. And so people came from just different genres, and I didn't expect that each person would bring such a wealth of music. So Chris Murray, when he was a guitarist for a very long time, when he came in, he just brought like powerhouse chops for music as a session musician. And so a lot of the people who stopped in had already had a history in music and working in other bands, and they were just ready to hit the ground running.
Wow, that's really incredible, and like goes to show like what Madison's music scene has to offer. Like it's people kind of joke that's like, oh, if like everybody knows everybody, it's not that big. And like it's in some sense that's true, but I feel like there's a lot of talent to be tapped into, not just through the people whose like names but like all the people who are just making music in Madison. Just a
Yeah.
lot of cool stuff happening.
Yeah, I felt we were really lucky to have the opportunity to do this, and in Lou's basement. I mean, so when you consider a lot of what we were doing was not in studio or
Yeah.
with all the best tech and bells and whistles. This was in his basement, but putting together some really pretty phenomenal music.
Yeah. I think now's the time. Let's keep on going through the EP. There's 6 tracks on it. We earlier played Better Tell the Truth. I'm gonna go ahead and play the next two right in a row. The first one is Tear It All Down, and the second one is Badass. Let me share that screen one more time. Soon I'll be able to do that without saying it out loud. Okay, here we go.
They said, be good, don't do. You should play nice like me. I know heaven's at your door. Save face somehow if you somehow show me the truth. You're so scared and so unsure.
Hold tight to a tired institution. Make another New Year's resolution. How long till we pick up arms and start a revolution?
Give me reason to be more than commodity. Our lives, there was so much more. This place, it's so cliche. We are not molded clay. Watch as we walk on out that door.
Hold tight to a tired institution. Make another New Year's resolution. How long till we pick up arms and start a revolution?
Allow me to be the individual, and from this that may develop the residual side effect. Having an open mind, all preconceived notions should be left behind. Take a leap into the unknown, follow all the past and those you've been shown. Surprise, maybe they realize something of importance right before your eyes. What could it be? Perhaps the dignity that comes by being treated with equality. Remember when you refrain from stereotyping others, you break the chain. The tosses up and tears it down, keep the weight above the ground. Awake the weak and others, you have the pressure, build the power. Power, kill the person, either breaks it from within. The will is found, arise again, arise again, arise again, and tear it all.
Yeah,
Badass.
that's badass.
So yeah, those are the next two tracks. That was Tear It All Down and Badass. Those were recorded at Paradigm Studios, the old studios, which was on West Washington, but still
Called
with
that
Jake
shop at
Johnson.
the gas station.
Yeah, that's so wild. Yeah, everyone I talked to is like, there's a music studio in a gas station. But now there's an actual, well, I mean, not that wasn't an actual studio, but now they have a new location and it's off of like off of the Beltline and sort of by
Yeah.
Todd Drive. I was actually just there last week and Jake says hi.
Good.
Um, so I mean, I guess we just played two tracks that are tonally pretty different. But Kirk, what do you have to say about like inspiration for either or both of those songs?
Yeah. So Tear It All Down is, as with many of the songs, some of the ones that didn't get posted on here or that we didn't actually record professionally, it would be just an inspiration from someone doing an instrumental or one of the singers creating something, and then we would just kind of build upon it. In this case, their opening horn sequence that you hear was originally guitar meanderings from Chris Murray, who was our guitarist, and he would just was noodling around and create boom, 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 and then later on those were horns. But at the time, various band members just started getting together and being like, okay, what are we going to play over here? And Lou's playing on the drums, just working it out. And this was just a sequence of various instrumentalists and singers sitting down. Matt and I actually sat down with notepads and just started brainstorming what the musical sequences that we were hearing sounded like and started creating words. And I do believe it was him that came up with the title for this, for Tear It All Down, because it fit some of the notes that people were playing. And then we discussed, like, what does that mean, tear it all down? And we came up with the idea of this being a protest song against establishment and corporations and fakeness. And so one of the lyrics is, "We are not molded clay, tear it all down." And it was this idea of this as a protest. And I just wanted to say one thing about the song. As with all my time in the band with Matt, the co-writing session was exactly what most of my experiences were, Matt, were laughter and silliness and joy, and he's still that person to this day. He just brought energy to every rehearsal and performance, and his creativity was really important in this song, but in the band in general. He was just a blast to sing with. And so the bridge in the song is a little different in that Tracy, who was a singer in the band, had made this kind of offhand joke about my interest in rap because I had sang rap in my youth and was interested in incorporating it into one of the songs. And she was laughing at the idea of me, man in his 40s, rapping. And so I freestyled some lyrics for the bridge, which pretty much is what you hear in there is that break as rap. I think there's a little bit of an adjustment some of the words, but for the most part, it's much what was freestyled. And it just felt very vindicating because my feathers got a little ruffled when she's like, "You can't rap," and I was like, "Yes, I can." um, but so in the song itself, and as it's being laid down, Abby was singing these really amazing harmonies in the background. If you get a chance to listen to the song again, just listen to her as she's going over the top. And those were all her creations. When she went into the studio Paradigm, they're just replicating what she already had done. Um, and her voice is so necessary to the final product. Matt and I had almost to develop this little duet, and then she just added this completely different quality to the blend. She had that kind of bluesy jazz, but very sweet sound. Just brought a lot of dimensions to the music. Sounded a little bit like Rachel Price from Lake Street Dive, and then the full sound actually has a little Manhattan Transfer jazz vibe with her added. And but I think it's the horn arrangement and your playing that just really brought it into fruition. The whole package just became a beautiful piece. And again, just something that was out of noodling in the basement. There was no intent to write a song other than it just kind of came together and we kept. So before I jump on to the next one, any thoughts from you both?
Um, yeah, um, yeah, it's interesting that you're like mentioning that like how long of a trajectory there was like in that songwriting process because that song, like the bones of that song existed like by the time I joined the band.
Right.
Um, I remember, I think there were some like bare bones horn parts there that I kind of
Yeah, I
fleshed
think
out.
tuba.
Yeah. Yeah, and then yeah, that the part that Abby wrote is really incredible, and she was in it for the last like maybe year and a half of the
A
band, you
year and a
know?
half, yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty special, I'd say.
Yeah, it was pretty special to meet everyone coming in and out of the band too and seeing their different talents. So I'm always gonna miss that, but I'm glad we're etching it here forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, that's okay. I was gonna talk a little bit about Badass.
Oh,
Badass
please.
is a completely different piece. That one was intentional. So some of the songs were just came out of jam sessions. We just wrote them on the fly, or they evolved. But this was one that actually started out as a conversation with a friend um, about language and music, and it took a lot of its inspiration from Isaac Hayes' Shaft, because the that song was just so unabashedly male energy, and it had very sexy vibe. And as a singer, I've always been interested in like the swagger and confidence of soul and Motown and funk and jazz singers, and how these artists could just project that ultimate surety about singing around sex, and just this idea, not that they're bragging, but just kind of a certainty that they would be these excellent lovers. And I wanted to try my hand at writing lyrics and melody that supported this idea, kind of the old like Wilson Pickett and Otis Redding and some of these singers, Sam Cooke. They would just sing with complete confidence. And so Badass kind of takes that idea about, I'm going to love you so hard, and you're going to love every minute of it approach. And it's just, that very confident. All that being said, I'm a former gospel choir and a cappella singer. And so, I don't necessarily come across usually in that way, but this was just a chance to sing to a different part of my persona. Um, but I also was the father of a little girl who always attended our rehearsals. So my daughter Cypress actually would fall asleep at the end of rehearsals, laying on like mats near the equipment. So she kind of grew up with the band in some ways, and she would call me out for it whenever I would say it was writing the song and creating it. She said, "Papa, you can't say badass. That's naughty. You can't say those words." And she wanted me to say something like bad sass or bad grass, and that just always cracked me up. And that led me to incorporate the da 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 builds at the end of the song. So rather than saying badass, I would say bad da 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 da. And that struck me as funny, and kind of mirrored the part in Shaft where they say he's a bad mother, and then all the ladies were responding, shut your mouth. And so the song was just a lot of fun to do every time, and people would ask me about the lyrics afterwards, and they'd be like, what are you writing about, or what are you singing about? And did I hear a whip crack in the song? And that came about when Dan had mentioned Jake Johnson of Paradigm Productions, who did all of our recording and editing and made every song infinitely better. But he would just have these ideas in the sessions about what do you think, and incorporating these little pieces that made the song so much better. And one of my favorite memories is being in the studio and I'm explaining the history behind the song, and I made this whip crack sound with my voice, which is and so he thought that was funny, and we recorded it a number of times, and then he was just changing it and editing it, and you can hear it in the song, the sound of a whip crack. And it was just a really fun song to do overall. And by the end, Matt, Abby, and I are practically screaming badass. It was just so joyful.
I didn't realize the whip crack was your voice in the recording.
That's me. We
Yeah.
did about 6 takes of it. So
Wow, that's really cool. Um, looking at the time, let's move on to the next song. Yeah, this song totally, or the EP totally kind of goes all over the place because we were just talking about badass, and this next song is called
totally
Pretty,
different.
totally different. This one is called Pretty Girl. I'll let Kirk talk more about it later, but like in short, it's like an ode and an honor of his sister. Is that right? Yeah.
That's right.
All right, so let us listen to the track.
girl. What lies did the mirror tell today? Sigh, critical gazing should as well be blind. Well, wrap it up with gilded lace and typos. The Lord knows what might become of you. Oh, when the beauty's paper thin, skin deep and shallow grin, it's enough to make you glad that for now no one's aware what you do. Oh, say, pretty girl, what's that sour taste upon your tongue? My, it's truly amazing how the insides burn. Sell a promise deep inside for bland faith and false pride. Is that the way to go? Oh, just a cutie for your friends, smiling means to their ends. You don't help your little flower to bloom, so it has no place. Pretty girl, what's the problem? Took a bite of bitter melon. Oh my girl, there's no bottom to the deep where you just fell in. When the world gets you found out, they are buying what you're selling. Ain't no use in crying, cause there's no one hears you yelling. Pretty girl, ooh, 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 pretty girl. If you defy their expectations and resist manipulation, then you best make preparation for a shattered reputation. Don't give in to desperation, not that bad a situation. You can have a better life with just some slight imagination. Pretty girl, oh, whoa, 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 pretty girl. If you defy their expectations and resist manipulation, then you best make preparation for a shattered reputation. Don't give in to desperation, not that bad a situation. You can have a better life with just some slight imagination. Pretty girl, ooh, pretty girl. Oh Lord, little Lord, pretty girl. Oh Lord, little Lord, pretty girl. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, pretty girl. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, pretty girl. Oh Lord, little Lord, pretty girl. Oh my pretty girl, my pretty, pretty girl.
So that was Pretty Girl. Um, that's the fourth track on the EP that we just released. It's can be the whole EP can be found on Bandcamp right now, for digital download, but also the very first track can be found currently on any streaming platform. Just find Stone, Barone, and the Madtones on Spotify, Amazon Music, YouTube Music, anything like that. If you follow us there, we're going to be releasing a track every month until January. So you'll be able to keep up to date and hear the new tracks as they come out that way too. So now, Kirk, what's Pretty Girl all about?
Well, first, before I say that, I just want to call a shout out to that horn. Every time I listen to that section, it's just so smooth. I mean, you could almost segregate out the horn itself and listen to it as a separate song, and that's Dan taking it away for us there. Really gorgeous. So Pretty Girl was actually written a long time before Stone Barone. It was originally just a vocal and guitar homage to my sister in support of her and her history. And it was really just a song about girls and how often in society what's told to them about their bodies and how they look and the cues that they take from the outside world really cause them to be really harshly judging of themselves. So one of the lyrics is, what lies did the mirror tell today? And it was soft and sad and light years away from the song that this originally came in the band. So I conceived of it as for that solo voice, and really after recorded it with another guitarist and singer, just hadn't considered it for use again. And then Lou Barone and I were listening to some of my songs from previous collaborations, and I had asked him, I said, do you think we could imagine this song, reimagine it as more positive and empowering? Because the song, the way that it was written, had a lot of positive lyrics, but the way that it sounded and how it put together just wasn't as empowering. And so when the band took a hold of it, it emerged with a faster tempo, more sweet, supportive vocals and harmonies, obviously the rich horn playing, and then just a much more hopeful message overall as it sped up and it was fuller. And now when I listen to it, it feels more like a gift for girls who've gone through some really challenging times and more of a celebration of their wins coming through to a better place rather than just a commentary on the fact of what they experienced. And so like one of the lyrics is, you can have a better life with just some slight imagination. And I'm hoping that's how others feel as well as positive.
Yeah, I haven't heard the original version of it, but I do agree that uh that this reimagination of the song is kind of like put it in like an uplifting sort of tone. I think that Chris did a really good job like laying out like the chord progressions to like set that feel, especially like going into the key change in the last chorus is like kind of like the imagination is like lifting us into like a better like reality.
Yeah.
Um, which I think is really cool. Um, Before we go on to the next track, I want to remind everybody that the reason for the season is not only because we have released this EP, but all of the proceeds that we make on Bandcamp or streaming or anything is going to be going to Primates Incorporated, which is a nonprofit that is has created a sanctuary for retired research monkeys, the only one that exists in Wisconsin and one of 8 in the nation. Amy, I was wondering if you wanted to share, just like introduce us to those 12 monkeys. Like I know they all have names. I like what's it like? What's it like being around these monkeys in the sanctuary?
Well, for years I had always used I wanted to help the monkeys so badly that I'd always use any means necessary to raise funds. And so that's where I combine the trombone playing with fundraising. And so our first 3 monkeys who arrived to us in 2018, that was already well after many fundraisers, were at the High Noon Saloon and bands performed, but it was just very rewarding to help the rhesus monkeys because the chimpanzees are being helped. They have Jane Goodall, and they're the great apes. There are chimpanzee sanctuaries, but the rhesus monkeys, they're very overlooked, even though they're very close to us. So at the lab, I reasoned that if we were getting funding to test on them because they're so close to us, then the very least we should be able to do is be sending them to sanctuary. And then over the years, I realized that more researchers really do want to send monkeys onward, but management is getting in the way. Researchers feel intimidated. They can't speak up for sending monkeys onward. And that's basically what happened to me. I tried to help the 97 and did whatever I could. So then I thought, well, maybe after 22 years, I'm getting kind of burned out. Maybe I'll stop, or I've delegated out as much as I can to prevent burnout. And then this year I realized that the researchers, they do need me and they need me to keep speaking out on their behalf to help the monkeys under their care, because if they do speak up, they could risk losing their jobs. So on our website, we do have a frequently asked questions section if researchers do want to send monkeys onward and how they can do that. And now, as alternatives are being implemented, I wrote all the animal welfare organizations I could think of too. I said, as alternatives are being implemented, please provide funding to sanctuaries, because these animals who are being phased out, they're not going to have any place to go. So really, it comes down to the sanctuary needing support, any animal sanctuary. All these sanctuaries are overlooked, but we're actually walking billboards for the animals who need help. And so I really rely on the community for their support so that we are setting this example for what's possible. And it's been really rewarding to see local researchers from local labs coming up and visiting and saying, I wish our monkeys had this, and just a real collaborative effort. So I've really taken pride in focusing on common ground over the years and to get the monkeys helped. And so today we have the 12 monkeys, and recently, I'll just tell you a story real quickly about Gizmo. He was from the pet trade, and he was bought as a baby in Florida for thousands of dollars. And then the owner brought him up to Wisconsin, and then it's not legal to own a monkey everywhere. So oftentimes people are swindled into buying this cute baby monkey, but then they don't realize that they wind up in an illegal area where the monkey's being kept, so they can be confiscated by authorities, or they become too dangerous and then they need to be sent onward. And so typically no funding comes with monkeys from the pet trade. Our building's near capacity, and that's simply because we provide multiple enclosures. My dream was to simulate the natural environments for primates, because monkeys from labs in the pet trade can't be released to the wild. But that's why we need a sanctuary in every state with multiple environments. So we're accredited by the Global Federation of Animal Sanctuaries to make sure that we really go above and beyond in providing traveling and foraging opportunities in addition to natural diets. So they get 5 fruits and vegetables twice a day. And Gizmo, since he didn't know how to be a monkey, he had never been around a monkey. Then he grew up to be 2.5 years old and became too dangerous for the owner. And then a lovely humane society actually rescued Gizmo. And luckily they were in Wisconsin, so they reached out to us to help him. And we have the pair of vervets, Bella and Jojo, and Miss Bella's getting pretty up there in age. And although we never want to think of what will happen to her, we really wanted Jojo, this young vervet, to also have a partner for life, Gizmo. And we have our behavioral team at the sanctuary. So what I take pride in is making sure to measure primates' behavior when they arrive, and then ensuring they show natural behaviors over time. And we've got a wonderful behavioral team and staff to be able to do that. And so I'm proud to report today that Gizmo is living with Bella and Jojo in a trio and learning how to be a monkey. And it really takes so much time and effort to do that. So just wanted to report on that. And then to view more of our monkey residents, you can go to our website and view all of them and see their stories. So appreciate that chance, Daniel. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And I just want to clarify for people who might not be aware. You mentioned like monkeys who are coming out of either the pet trade or the research labs with behavioral issues. I feel like one question people might have is like after this research is done, or like if a monkey gets confiscated, uh, so why don't we just send it back to Africa or South America or where it came from? What happens, like if they're not going to a sanctuary, what happens to the monkeys?
Most of the monkeys in laboratories they're often resold to more research until they can't be used any longer. And so there's really not much of a motivation to send monkeys onward, except for the ethical ones. So if a researcher grows close to the monkey under their care and the monkey's finished with the study, the researcher can make that decision to send them on. And typically in the lab that I worked in, the monkeys I worked with, they were not involved in a terminal study. And so it just broke my heart to know that they didn't get to achieve sanctuary. Often studies are terminal. There's the acute terminal studies for testing out toxicity tests. And
And terminal like means that they die at the end.
yes, yes. And so some labs would say, we never send any of our monkeys to sanctuary. And that's what I had trouble with locally making the case for our sanctuary, because local labs would say, well, we never send our monkeys on. We always sell them, or they're mostly terminal. But there are labs, even if there's terminal cases, there are labs who have breeder monkeys and control monkeys and monkeys that they've grown close to. So there's at least 1% of the monkey population who could be sent on to these sanctuaries if given the opportunity. And I know 105,000 is such a large number.
Yeah.
So that's what makes it so challenging, is even just making the case to send them on to sanctuary, because you have other labs just saying there's no need. And we don't send our monkeys on. But then what I did over the years was I made my case to the public and said, well, actually other labs are sending their monkeys to sanctuary and they're getting turned away because of capacity and funding constraints. So we're going to work with the labs who want to send their monkeys onward. And that's what I take pride in, is focusing on that common ground to help researchers get their monkeys to achieve sanctuary.
Yeah, thank you for that. And I feel like that highlights the importance of this, because like without the sanctuaries, there is nowhere for them to go. So thank you for being one of the people to kind of like break ground, I guess, in this sort of like hopefully an eventual cultural shift in the research industry. Um,
Amy, I
let's
wanted to
go
ask
ahead.
you real quick. Can you talk a little bit about what a donation would mean? So for somebody making a donation, watching here or watching the recording later on, what does a 50 or 75 or $100 donation mean to you and your organization?
Thank you, Kirk. It really means the world to us because we are community supported, and the monkeys do receive those natural diets, and we don't get produce donated that's about to turn and all that. We give our monkeys fresh produce. That much of it is grown on site. And so the operating costs at the sanctuary, just to take care of the monkeys and having the 5 part-time staff that are professionals, the sanctuary runs itself with these amazing people and providing natural diets and cleaning. The sanctuary actually costs $15,000 a month to run itself, but we're really setting an example and showing what's possible. And so $75 would help feed the monkeys for 3 days. And that every amount really helps us tremendously, and it's what has been keeping us going for over 8 years. And then by setting this example for what's possible, it's allowed me to do more grant writing. Unfortunately, we've lost Bob Barker, our hero, The Price is Right. He did close his foundation as well. And so that's been difficult. We can't turn to Bob Barker anymore. And so I've just been really getting out there in the community to increase awareness. So we would really love any support. And then I wanted to mention that I donate my time. I have a job in the city of Madison where I can go up there a couple times a month, but I really am proud that the staff can run the place. And so I'm really focused on increasing awareness at this point and helping out. This Sunday, I'm going up and I'm cleaning the kiddie pools for the monkeys because I get my steps in, and then I love seeing them with their fresh water and their pools. So I can volunteer at that level too. We have volunteer opportunities on site for animal care, primate caretaker. And this was a great way to allow people the experience to gain with monkeys without having to work in a lab. And so, I was so profoundly affected by my experience in the lab. This way, we provide free opportunities in primate care that helps career growth. So if anyone's interested in volunteering or donating, please do visit our website at primatesinc.com.
Thank you so much, Amy. Um, let's go on to the second to last track on the EP. This one's called Get Off the Phone. This is one of my favorites. I think the song is honestly hilarious. But I won't give away too much right now. Let's let you guys have a listen.
Dropped 250 on a bottle of Crystal. I was trying to impress you, but you don't seem to care at all. On Facebook, on FaceTime, but the time you're wasting is all mine. Texting, sexting, selfie sticks, and now you're staring at the screen like you need a fix. Are you interested? No, I just can't see. Cause the vibe you're sending is so emoji. On Snapchat, no, you're not all that. No, I don't give a shit about copycat. Lasts twice as long as your battery, but you gotta look up, you wanna get with me. Maybe you don't know how rude you are, but you're gonna find out when I get in the car. But if not, then stop. What you're doing is gone too far. Swipe left, swipe right. Do you even know who you're with tonight? Swipe left, swipe right. Do you even know who you're with tonight? Swipe left, swipe right. Do you even know who you're with tonight? Swipe left, swipe right. Do you even know who you're with? Get off the phone. I didn't drop 250 on a bottle of Crystal. I was lying to impress you, but you don't seem to care at all. On Facebook, on FaceTime, but the time you're wasting is all mine. Samsung, Sony, Motorola, LG, now you're just another loser hanging out with me. Maybe you don't know how rude you are, but you're gonna find out when you get in the car. But if not, then stop. What you're doing is gone too far. Swipe left, swipe right. Do you even know who you're with tonight? Swipe left, swipe right. Do you even know who you're with tonight? Swipe left, swipe right. Do you even know who you're with tonight? Swipe left, swipe right.
Get off the phone. Oh man, I love that song. Yeah, I want to bring the direction to like just sharing fun memories from back in the good old band days because that's kind of like I mean the story behind the song is pretty funny. So I don't know if Kirk you want to share the inspiration for Get Off the Phone.
Yeah, so we would just have these periods where various band members in between a song would go do their own thing. Like we try to stay focused. We're gonna go on, we're gonna, we'd learn something and we're gonna come back to it. And just like herding cats, people would disperse or they'd start doing their own thing. People would start noodling. But we had one band member who just would go to their phone the second the song was done. Like actually, even halfway through the end of a song, we'd be working, their part was done, and phone would come out, texting away, and I would think to myself, it's like, how would this actually look from the audience? Everybody else is jamming, and this person has a cell phone, and I thought, there's no way that they would ever do that on stage. So I went and talked to Lou, and I started laughing, and I started singing to another song. I was singing, "Get off the phone, get off the phone," and he looked up, and we both started laughing because they were on the phone again. And eventually, this just turned into a song that we wrote, and I conceptualized it as, what would this be like if you were actually on a date and this person just would not get off their phone, and no matter what you did, you're trying to convince them to do so. Well, it turned out that later on at a performance, this person actually brought their cell phone out on stage while we were standing there and started texting towards the end of the song. And Get Off the Phone was the very next song that we did. So it was prophetic.
Oh man, the audacity.
Yeah. It was a
Do
fun
you,
song to write, though, too.
oh no, for sure. It definitely was.
And the dueling horns make it. That was you and Kristin, right? You and Kristin
Yeah,
were doing that. Oh, that the dueling horns at the end are just amazing.
thank you.
What I love about the song is it's just so timeless because I had thought that it was just about people being on their phones and like the online dating. And I really hope this song goes viral because I think it's applicable to everyone.
Yeah.
So thank
Well,
you.
and
It's my favorite.
at the time, I didn't really use my cell phone that much. And now I've become one of those addicted people too, that everyone's constantly telling me, get off the phone, stop looking at your cell phone. And like, and I used to think, how can you possibly be addicted to staring at your phone? But it's ubiquitous.
It's real. Um, Amy, do you have any like I don't not to put you on the spot, but is there like a favorite band memory or moment that you can think of from back in the day?
Well, I was
Well,
just thinking about that really fast and difficult trombone part that you wrote there in that song.
Oops.
I had to go like
Oh.
this with my slide and really practice quite a bit. So, but then there was a running joke in the band about I always wanted to be so prepared, so I'd tape my music all out on like on file folders and try to be all organized. And I just try to be all organized. I get it all up on the stand, and then wind would happen, or we'd bump the stand, and all my music would fall on the floor. And I always try to stay out of the limelight, and then something would happen where that would make me at the forefront. But no, and just meeting all the great people, and I really loved the performances. On like seriously, I mean, it made me quit the other band I was in because this band, I really love the music, and I thought we'd be around for a long time, but I understand things happen, and so I'm just so glad to at least be able to hear this music forever on
Yeah,
YouTube and be able to download it to my
yeah. Thank
playlist.
you for making this possible.
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
And thank you guys for taking the time to do all this and raising the funds for the monkeys. Thanks to everyone for attending too.
Some favorite band memories that I can think of, like one, I think my favorite gig location, honestly, ever in my entire life, was playing at the zoo, at the Henry Valley Zoo in front of the carousel.
That was great.
Yeah, I don't remember why we were there, but it was a very weird venue, but like
Yeah.
very there's like this weird sort of like eerie magic to it. It's like all the sound like bouncing around and like the carousel slowly turning around.
Yeah, and people passing by and they're like, "What? Why does the zoo have a house band? What are they doing here?"
Yeah.
That was great. Well, my favorite spontaneous band moment was when we played outside of the brass, not the brass ring, the old fashioned, when
Oh
we
yeah.
played, and we just had all the band out, and we were actually plugged into one of the street lights. So I had brought all the equipment down, and just randomly, because we're making cash as we could, and we just wanted the experience, and we couldn't find a gig at that time. And I'm not sure if it was me or if it was somebody who suggested old fashioned, but I brought all the equipment down, and I went in and asked them, and they said more or less, yeah, you can just, don't get in the way of the people who are standing in line, because old fashioned would have these lines out to the street. And we plugged into the street light, and then the crowd kind of surrounded us. The people who were waiting to get in surrounded, and it's one of the most responsive crowds we ever had, even including performances. Sintonimi was the other one where people were totally engaged. But I just remember playing there and thinking, man, this is amazing. All these people were coming up and asking us for cards, and it was live music at its best.
Yeah, I really enjoyed gigs with like the spontaneity. The other moment I was thinking of was I want to say it was the art fair in the square, where
The
like
power
maybe
went
like
out.
the power went out like maybe like 20, 15, 20 minutes into the set, and like it didn't come back. So the guitarist and the bassist just kind of called it a day. And then the singers were just like waltzing between like all the people sitting in the crowd and singing, and then the horns and the drums were on the stage playing the music the best that we could, you know. And the way that we arranged the music, you know, we were trying to make it like we had said earlier in the program, where like or all the vocals and the horn parts are kind of filling out the sound. So like why did we have a guitarist and a bassist in the first place?
I
I don't
mean,
know.
we didn't need that at that moment. I,
Yeah.
and I love the fact that, with the exception of the two of them that kind of walked off, the band just hung in there. I mean, the singers were like, "Well, we'll just project more." The horn players, will keep up. We had the drummers. I was
You
just,
know, was mad. We just did
the
it.
show went on.
Yeah.
So
It, the magic of live music. Like I'll
right,
never grow old of stuff like that.
yeah,
Well, we got one more track. It's the You Inside. Um, I want to like talk a little bit about it before we start, because I feel like if you just like pick a lyric out of the song, you might get the wrong idea. But um,
yeah.
um, so it's a dialogue between two different people. Kirk, can you want to just like in like a few sentences say like what to expect out of the song?
Yeah, so this was written during the first presidency of Trump, and it was an idea that there was so much vitriol coming out and people just saying really horrible things about immigrants. And this was to be a conversation from an immigrant person who was coming into the country, talking to one of those persons and trying to find some shared humanity. And this idea that, that the you inside of me and me inside of you, we have something in common, but we often have difficulty seeing what's common between us or talking about it.
Yeah, thank you. I think that's the best way to put it. So, without further ado, here's the final track of the EP.
Americans are whiners and live the life that's finer than anything that came before, but still you complain.
Don't even speak the language, your kids are so dangerous, and every street is named an unpronounceable name. Oh, 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 oh.
Silver spoon babies, and don't tell me maybe when I ask you if I'm working, can I come through the door?
Why work if you can steal it and you don't even feel it? A little taste of freedom and you're killing for more. Oh, 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 oh. You can't understand what I feel. Living lies instead of what's real. Heaven knows I've tried to see the you inside of me. You're privileged and you know it, so biased and you show it. Everything you do and say, I guess you don't mind. Don't ask us for no handouts, the borders where you'll stand out. If you wanna be American, then get in the line. Oh, 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 oh. You can't understand what I feel. Living lies instead of what's real. Heaven knows I've tried to see the you inside of me.
You're on mute.
Hey, sorry about that.
There you go.
Yeah, so that was the last song, The You Inside. I really enjoyed writing on that one. That's I really appreciate that that one made the EP. Um, uh, yeah, with that intro, I was very inspired at the time. Actually, I still am by like bands that make music with like orchestras or brass bands, and I was like trying to kind of like make this sort of like I don't know,
Anthem.
like a mock anthem,
Yeah.
but like a little more somber. Um, and then like yeah, towards the end, like I was like writing stuff that was like way too hard for a trombone player to go. So thank you, Amy, for being a trooper through all that.
Yeah, that
um,
was fun. Thank you.
um, so again, all of the tracks that you heard today are available on our Bandcamp. The EP's the same name as the band, Stone, Barone, and the Madtones. Available for $6 or more. And all of
60, you say?
and all of the proceeds are going to go towards Primates Inc. Um, Also, if you just like don't buy digital music and you only stream, the very first track, Better Tell the Truth, is out right now on all streaming platforms, and we'll be releasing every other one once a month up through January something. So follow us on your favorite streaming platform, tell your friends that we're on there, and help get the word that that music is coming out. And if enough people listen to it, maybe we'll be releasing some of our dirtier demo recording studio rehearsal tracks, you know.
Yeah.
Any final closing thoughts about our time in the Madtones or about last words about Primates Inc.?
I just had one for you and Kirk. I wanted to have you tell the audience what you are now doing with music so they can find you out on the scene right now, because you're both very talented individuals, and wanted to give you a shout out.
Thank you. Kirk, do you want to go first?
No, you go.
Okay. So hello, my name is Daniel Haschke. I guess I should have introduced myself 20 minutes ago. So I was the saxophonist and flautist in the Madtones, and that was one of the first bands that I was in post college. I didn't really say my origin story for the Madtones, but I found them on Craigslist. Really a diamond in the rough for sure. Between all the other projects that I had found on Craigslist, that this is for sure the best one. Um, but now I am a professional musician. I mostly am known for playing in the band WURK, which plays what we call funk fusion, like funk, rock, jazz fusion, jam band stuff all across the Midwest. Um, I'm also in a band called Old Oaks, which is usually a duo, sometimes a trio. That's more like acoustic singer-songwriter with a 12-string guitar. I play sax and alto flute. Um, I play in a big band jazz band called DB Orchestra, and then other miscellaneous projects all across Madison. You can find me specifically on Instagram at SAXCHKE. It's like Sax Hashke, Saxke, or on Facebook, Daniel Hashke Saxophone, or on my website, danielhashke.com. And you'll see all the music that I'm making. And Kirk, what
So
are you up to?
So post Stone Barone, I was in a band, trio's Stairwell, and we released a CD and wrote some original music and created that. That band just closed out last year, and in the interim since then, I've been working with one of my friends, John Jacob, and my fiance. Thea to start working on covers and some original music that we're going to be creating together. I also get a chance to sing and create and sing mostly with my stepsons and then also with my daughter. So I'll be working on some original music in the next year or two.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, I want to shout out your daughter specifically, Cypress. Like I remember just so many memories of her being at the shows and rehearsals. But she in her own right has become a phenomenal musician. And
Yeah, she's quite amazing.
yeah, so check her out too. Is it Cherry Toad? Is that the name of
Yeah,
her?
Cherry Toad is her band.
Yeah, it's really incredible stuff. And Amy, on occasion, plays with Ladies Must Swing on the trombone, and she does a great job there too.
oh, thank you. I became a sub in the band just so I could focus most of my time on the monkeys, but it was really magical getting to play and seeing people be entertained. And so thank you both so much.
Yeah, thank you guys. This was a lot of fun today.
Was fun.
Um,
Thanks for doing this.
Yeah,
Definitely.
thank you all for doing this. And Amy said that this stream is going to be posted on YouTube sometime soon. I can chop up some of the clips and put them on Instagram and stuff if you'd like.
Great.
And all the music again is online, so check it out. Thank you guys for being here today.
All right. And I'll see you two shortly.
Okay.
We'll talk soon.
Thanks everyone for your support. Appreciate it.
Love you all. Thank you.
You too. Bye.